As you guys know, and we've done a story on this, Invisible Children last week had released this viral video bringing attention to Josephy Kony, who is the leader of the Lord's Resistance Army in Central Africa. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this back up again today is because, understandably, the organization that put out that viral video has received a lot of criticism and they criticize a lot of different angles. But I want to bring up the simplicity of the film because today Invisible Children released another video kind of responding to the criticism. And one of the things that they do address is how simplistic the video is, and it doesn't talk about such a huge complex issue that's happening in Africa right now. Now, what's interesting is Jason Russell, who's the co-founder of Invisible Children, had an interview with the New York Times, and during the interview, this is what he had to say about the simplicity of the film. He says, "No one wants a boring documentary on Africa. Maybe we have to make it pop, and we have to make it cool. We view ourselves as the Pixar of human rights stories."
I largely agree with him. So what do you want him to do? Do a documentary that's intensely dull and incredibly dry and lasts 3.5 hours to get all the complexity? Mm-hmm. Now, I don't want him to fudge the facts. That's very, very important, right? But at the same time, if he arrives at the right facts by telling an interesting story that does not include all of the complexity of the issue, I can live with it.
And it is a very complex issue. As we mentioned on the show, the Ugandan government is facing criticism because of some of their human rights abuses. So does this organization really want to support them? So I think that's a very legitimate criticism, okay? And I'm glad that they responded to it. However, today there's a brand new criticism about their funding. Okay? And you look at their annual reports and you see that a huge chunk of their funding comes from fundamentalists. So you look at the people that are funding them, and back in 2006, in their annual report, they decided that they wanted to thank the Castor Family Foundation and Circle Family Foundation. So you do a little research into them, and you find out the Castor Family Foundation was one of the leading organizations in pushing Proposition 8 here in California, which was anti-gay marriage. Okay. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? Invisible Children is supportive of the Ugandan government. The Ugandan government is not supportive of gay rights in any way, shape, or form. We did a story back in 2009 about how you have fundamentalists from the United States traveling to Uganda pushing this anti-gay legislation.
But it's not just anti-gay legislation, let's be clear about this.
Yeah.
It's that you could execute homosexuals.
Yes, it's known as the Kill Gay Bill. And, it has not passed in Uganda. And it was originally proposed by a member of parliament by the name of David Bati. And if you are accused or found guilty of aggravated homosexuality, i.e. having sex, gay sex, and transmitting AIDS, you can literally be given a death penalty.
Right. Now, look, to me, if your funding comes from some, right-wing organizations, pro-life organizations, whatever it might be, and they're fighting for the right cause here, I got no problem whatsoever with that. But if they're giving you money so that somehow it gets to the Ugandan government that has proposed this hideous, hideous bill that would lead to the execution of aggravated homosexuals, then we've got massive problems.
So here are more details into the funding. In 2007, they received $350,000 from Provision Foundation. And in 2008, they received $414,000 from the National Christian Foundation. Again, these are all fundamentalist groups who are very much anti-gay, so it is raising a few red flags.
Yeah, I would definitely ask questions as to which direction they're going. And remember, Senator Inhofe is also totally on their side. Senator Inhofe is by far the most ignorant member of Congress. Now, doesn't mean that you can't use his help, doesn't mean he can't ever be right. And I remember when I saw Senator Inhofe was on the right side of this, I thought, hey, fantastic, nothing wrong with that. But if all these right-wing groups are actually giving for a different purpose, and it goes to the Ugandan government, which is, again, has a lot of evangelical Christian influence in it, and that is so virulently, violently anti-gay, well, then what are we doing here? Why are we getting money going in that direction? So, to me, that's the most important question that they have to answer. On the other stuff, oh, you guys made it entertaining. I don't care about that at all, okay? You got to get the facts right. If you get the facts wrong, that's a totally different situation. But, you know, whenever anybody's effective, there'll be a million critics. There's, oh, you should have done it this way. You should have done it that way. Oh, I didn't like the way you achieved your results.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bitter men, okay?
I know, look.
A lot of sour grapes there. Oh, I couldn't get anything done, but you did. Boo-hoo. And so I'm going to nitpick the way you did it.
Yeah, I got the same sense. I feel like a lot of the criticism is like from this bitter standpoint.
Understand why they hate, okay? Because it's so hard to get anything to go viral. And so many people work in media, in these causes, etc., and they can't get anybody to pay any attention to anything. And these guys come and blow everyone out of the water. You know, 50 million views, 70 million views, whatever they're up to, right? And everybody's talking about Kony. So everybody else that are in these fields, oh, it's eating them up from the inside. They're like, oh, I hate Kony. It wasn't extensive enough. Oh, the white man's bird. The Chinese guy. I don't know. I'm going to make up stuff, okay? Now, it doesn't mean that they shouldn't be scrutinized, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't be incredibly careful where the money's going. You should. That's what we're trying to do here, okay? But don't get colored by the incredibly bitter stuff that you're seeing that don't make no kind of sense elsewhere.